All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is going to be game number 2 we're getting into in just a moment between Young Glory and World Elite Academy. I am Pyrotechnics once again. She is Froskarin. And Frosk, well, World Elite Academy has a little bit of catching up to do.
I'm just going to ride the fact that Young Glory is tied to IG as their sister team and just be like, yeah, IG, you did it, finally.
They definitely showed a little bit more promise this time, showed a little bit of that glory that's half their name, I suppose. And at this point, they're not at the bottom of the standings. So now we're going to be showing the MVP of this game. It is going to be Zhenlong, the Dragon, on Lucian. He went 7-0-5, a perfect game for him. Well protected, though, especially against a composition that consisted quite a lot of assassins.
He finally got his wish and came in to perform.
I see where you were going with that one.
He collected all the Dragon Balls.
He did collect all the Dragon
Balls. It's
been
been a long time.
Well, maybe Young Glory did, so here we go. Getting into game number 2. Can they do it again, though? That was definitely a masterful performance, especially towards the end when they started snowballing the lead away, and just took far more picks than World Elite Academy were prepared to deal with. Coming into the second game, though, World Elite Academy, well, we're hoping they go back to something a little bit more traditional, I'd say, but what do you think they can do different this time, especially if they run into the same type of issues?
I feel like there are better picks on the board for them. I feel like their composition was a little bit bizarre. Specifically, again, I keep going back to the quirky pick, but there were so much better AD carries on the board. And SMLZ, again, he has that reputation of being the Wei Xiao protege, so why isn't he playing those hyper carry champions? I did say I think his best performance so far in LPL was in the split against LGD. He played Draven, and I believe it was either a triple and a delayed quadra or an official quadra, but he came out pretty big. And I'm just really curious that he's not playing, more of those up in your face. I'm the hyper carry. I can carry my team. I can put them on my back. Get in my backpack, guys. Let's go.
I would love to see a Draven on SMLZ this game, and I would also love to see GA on Annie. But I think that's going to get banned out once again.
I don't think the Annie's going to come true.
It seems like Young Glory has... We talked about how China doesn't really emphasize the pick ban phase as much as other regions. And I think that Young Glory is definitely learning this lesson after being burned so many times.
I completely agree. I think the pick ban phase in China is so underdeveloped, and not just in kind of the bottom tier teams, but even in the top tier teams. Picks go uncontested all the time. I believe Zero, when he came out initially in the start of the split for Starhorn Royal Club, he showed a fantastic thresh, and I think he got that champion like every single time. The fact that Insect can get Lee Sin whenever he chooses. And again, it comes back to they ban really bizarre things, like the Kassadin ban. I mean, I understand that people are like, oh, Kassadin's OP, you can't let it through. In LPL, Kassadin does not have a good standing or good reputation.
Still used to the LSPL variety, I suppose. And this is why we get into that conversation all the time about, maybe it's stronger than the LPL, right? Well, so far the teams that were repping it last season, not really showing that.
Definitely, and they've had this reputation for kind of like a long time. I think Vichy Gaming is really strong in LSPL, but that's neither here nor there. I really just want to talk about...
time.
I know, how people, they get the picks that they want. I feel like Young Glory got exactly what they wanted. They got a Yasuo pick, which incredibly popular in China. They got the Lucian pick, which incredibly popular in China. The Mundo, we'll give that a toss-up. He was looking at the Gragas, so obviously he had the available option there. Like, I just feel like across the board, their champions were just so much more consistent with the meta and what's strong right now, whereas World Elite Academy just completely dropped the ball.
Yeah, I think the Mundo pickup was especially good for instigating the 2v1 lane swap anyways, because they didn't rely heavily on a lot of early game items and just slowly let the Mundo build up into a complete brick wall that World Elite Academy could not break through to get to the back line and take down Zhenlong. So fantastic work by them overall across the board. Synergy really coming out. And let's see if they can do it again. It looks like we're going to be heading into picks and bans as soon as we stop showing off those really awesome jerseys of theirs. I want a polo like that.
You can buy the SK-T1K jerseys now, but I really wish that I, as someone in North America, could go and purchase an LPL jersey.
I wish I could purchase a summoner icon.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Can we talk about the...
Rito, please. We'll save that for another time, I suppose, as we get to show off some awesome new swag, hopefully in the near future. Speaking of swag, once again, that hat. That's another thing I want.
Oh, I know.
Bands.
Well, we can talk about the, we got some updated data on the World Elite Academy members.
Oh, we did. Well, why don't you go ahead and take it?
Let me shuffle through my notes really quick. You can talk about picks. Okay, here we go. So Mickey God is a solo queue player from Korea. He has 0 competitive experience. Han Lebong, I hope I'm pronouncing that.
Also known as Khan.
Also known as Khan. His claim to fame is a Jax that I guess nearly soloed SKT1K's sister team S, forcing the tiebreaker that allowed K to get into the playoffs last split. So a Jax player.
Well, there you go. Okay, so don't expect to see too much Jax, but we might later on in the game. We, of course, played Aurelia last time, so Han Belong, you said?
Yeah, Han Belong Khan.
I'm gonna go with Khan this time, but
it's
they
kind
are
of fun
banning
to say.
out. Yeah, they are banning out. They banned out the Caston once again, but we see also Yasuo taken away from Diangoon. They clearly were afraid of that one after the last performance on it, and of course, taking away the Annie again from GA. Pretty standard fare now. Young Glory sitting on their last ban. What will they take away from here? You think it's going to be the Jax?
I think it's going to be the Jax. Now, like
it's Braum.
Ooh. Is he going to first pick Jax?
If he does, he has exactly what he wants. I can, just imagine him rubbing his hands together in anticipation for this one. Will he go for that? No. It is going to be hovering the Lulu right now, but they've got time to think about this.
Lulu is incredibly popular in LPL, and the reason being is you have to think who is strong in LPL. It's their 80 carries. They do have a lot of strong mid laners, especially with Cool kind of returning to his pseudo form previously had, but it's mostly the 80 carry. It's a very 80 carry eccentric region. You think of what Lulu brings to a team. She's a utility style mage that is a fantastic mid power spike into late game, so she has a fantastic early bully phase, and then she transfers that power into Whimsy, Polymorph, and Wild Growth, and she gives it to her teammates surrounding her, specifically the 80 carry. So Lulu top, even though it's kind of died off in every other region except for Soaz, will continuously show up in LPL.
And they look like they gave over to the other side. Young Glory looks like Yansur and Yinfu going to be picking up the same champions they played last game, Jarvan and Leona. Worked out pretty well from last time, but it gets answered by Mickey taking a Rengar pick this time.
Again, we saw the spike of popularity in Rengar when Insect debuted on it. When he came to LPL, he had a good showing that time, but has recently kind of been a little plane crashing and burning. And speaking of little planes crashing and burning, it looks like...
on the other side this time.
I know, Shenlong's like, you know what, I'll teach you how to play Corki.
Yeah, so they switch 80 carries as Shenlong was not able to grab his Lucian. SMLZ going to pick that one up this time. And Corki is a pretty safe pick, I think, from Mickey's assassination potential, but they also get the Mundo again.
Obviously, it's a pocket pick for number 1 right now. They really like how it worked out, how he got tanky, how he was able to survive the 2v1 lane swap, so definitely kind of a comfort, but it's effectively the exact same composition coming in from Young Glory here. They're not shaking much up, and there is that Jax hover for Khan in the top lane.
Yeah, that means Lulu definitely going to be going to the mid for GA, so I think this is more of a safer and better scaling composition for World Loot Academy. But Young Glory still has a last pick to play, and what are they going to do for that mid role? Now that they know the Lulu's definitely going to be mid, they can deal with it.
Lulu
mid
Ziggs makes a lot more sense. Lulu mid is very popular internationally, which she should be because the mid, again, is a 1v1 role, so it allows Lulu to make use of her bully phase. The reason why we saw Lulu top kind of die out in every other region is why we see the surgence of Gragas top lane, especially in Korea right now, and in China as well, is because how the top lane works right now, it's a 2v1 lane swap, which means that Lulu has to do the double jungle. She can't survive the early lane phase, and you effectively, it's the same thing with Renekton. You have these champions like Lulu and Renekton who have a really strong early game, like they have the levels 1 through 5 where they're just absolute lane bullies, but if you put them in a 2v1, they don't get to be that lane bully, so they lose all of the early game power. So Lulu top, Renekton top, that was the death of them is when the meta changed. Lulu mid, still very effective, very widely used. And it looks like it is not going to be the Lulu top, it's going to be the Lulu mid. So I like this pickup a lot more, and the fact that Khan is going to take that Jax into the top lane.
And if they do decide to do a lane swap again, Jax should be able to hold just as well, if not better, the number 1's Mundo. But let's talk about that mid pickup. Diangoon thought about getting a Ziggs for maximum kite potential, but instead settled on Syndra. This is a champion that definitely receives a lot of attention in China.
Syndra internationally now has kind of leaked over, but did very much have her core base start in China. There are a lot of really good Syndra players in China, specifically Xiang. The previous mid laner of OMG was kind of like, he was synonymous with Syndra, possibly the best Syndra in the world.
I'm trying to rhyme it. I can't do it.
Kelsey had a cute little nickname for him before, but it's escaping me now. Dan Gunn obviously proving that he likes kind of the 1v1 assassin style. He had the Yasuo last game, so instead of going the utility style anti-siege, they're going to put him again on a very strong assassin burst mage. So I like this pickup as far as how his playstyle really transitioned from the last game. We'll see if he's able to snowball that same kill mentality. He did struggle in the early game, but he did come back, so hopefully things don't go wrong as early for him this time around.
Yeah, let's definitely hope so. Young Glory looking confident going into this game, as we will be getting loaded up onto Summoner's Rift. Game number 2, the battle for not last place. And once again, if Young Glory takes this game 2-0, they will be up a fairly decent 3-point lead over World Elite Academy for the 7th to 8th place spot. But if World Elite Academy claws it back, it will be tied once again at 1-1 at the bottom of the standings. And here we go. We're on to the Rift.
And it is going to be World Elite Academy, this time on the blue side, Young Glory on the red side. And again, they do have 1 win, so it effectively is what, game, set, and match for them to not be the worst team in LPL?
Yeah, that would be a pretty big relief if they don't let that happen. Just saying, okay, we're stalling it out, we're tying once again. But yeah, these are 2 teams at the very bottoms of the standing, but they're fighting like mad to make sure that they do not get that most notable recognition. Mundo taking the Doran Shield to start, trying to sustain up once again on the side of Young Glory. They really are favoring that later game.
To be fair, though, we are halfway through the season right now, so still have quite a bit of weeks, like what, 5 or 6 weeks to go left. IG right now is kind of the next placeholder. They're only sitting at 5 points. So if Young Glory gets a 2-0 victory, that puts them at 3 points. That's only 2 points down from IG, and IG's been a little shaky.
Yeah, the sister team upseeding them would be something pretty crazy. And speaking of pretty crazy, well, I guess it's not that crazy, but the 5-man invades on both sides, hoping to get catch up, but both teams doing the exact same thing. And they just kind of miss each other. It's like that Scooby-Doo sequence where they're all running through different doors.
It's effectively with the 2v1 lane swap double jungle meta. The map isn't split horizontally, it's split vertically now.
So yeah, the jungle includes the river now, right?
Exactly, the jungle includes the river now. So the top side of the map now is completely dominated and owned by blue side. The bottom side of the map, including the red and blue buff on the bottom side, are completely owned and dominated by red side. So Young Glory, that is the jungle.
We could see a very early level 1 if somebody wanders unsuspectingly into the bushes. But I think World Elite Academy is a little too smart for that. Pings are flying left and right, and it looks like it's just going to be a couple of red steals.
Khan has to be careful how he's going to go to lane.
Yeah, this is a bit dicey right now. Actually, a little more dicey for World Elite Academy, as they're hanging out very long in this one.
SMLZ, I don't know why he's trying to face check this. I guess they're just really trying to get a read, but they're sitting on a ward, so they know what's going to happen. Trying to get a cheeky red buff steal.
Yeah, I think he was trying to pull it off with the phosphorus bomb. Didn't quite grab it. Meanwhile, Mickey goes completely uncontested in the top lane. Teleport being spent by number 1 to get back to lane and deal with Khan. But now SMLZ and Yujie getting doved on, and there is a summoner heal and a flash being popped almost immediately. So Yujie, he has got 1 summoner, and SMLZ's got 1 summoner, and they did a very good job of scaring the living daylights out of that bot lane.
They were expecting the 2v1 lane swap, and by them, I mean Young Glory. They're obviously very surprised because they did do the invade as it went down to have a 2v2. I feel like this is actually better for Yanser and Shin Long here, just having Leona in a lane. I feel like Nami, she really thrives in kind of the 2v1 lane swap meta. Not that she doesn't give a lot of power to Lucian by giving the E and having him burn all 3 ticks quickly with his passive. But if she burns her bubble, she's kind of like Lux. Like, she's completely helpless. And against a hard engaged champion like Leona, that's very scary.
Yeah, I hate to burst your bubble, Yujie, but that is going to be a problem down the line. Now, they are getting poked just a little bit, as SMLZ does not quite have the range that Shenlong does. But he has been able to zone him away from a bit of farm to begin with. And without the continued presence of Yinfu right now, it's not too rough for them.
It's very much a skill matchup in this bot lane. It's really, will Yanser get a good engagement, which obviously Corki...
Here's Yinfu.
Oh.
Yeah, he's looking for this chase dive, and SMLZ is pretty low, but they're sustaining it up. Yuji spending his mana very wisely, and he's looking to try and come in. The double buffs are active right now. It looks like they're going to chase down Yuji. They're going to get the lockup, and the Phosphorus Bomb will land to try and secure that kill. They get him at the end of it. Teleport now coming in, but as they stayed too long, Valkyrie going to go up the only way he could as Khan teleports just a little bit too late. Yansur and the rest of the crew get out just fine. Well, Yansur looking to turn it around. Actually, he turns onto Khan, who gets his counter-strike out and leap strikes onto the Corki. But he'll disengage with the tiniest of health bars once again. Now SMLZ nowhere near his own lane right now. Has to disengage from this one. Mickey looking to get the assassination now on to Jarvan, but he's going to flag drag away. Can he get out of this one? I'm not so sure. Quite a lot of action going on in this early game as Khan will get the kill on a flash forward. Pick it up.
Completely baited by Yansur. They got out with a free early kill, but it does look like Dan
Not
Goon
even done. Oh my goodness, GA. He got away from that one, and I do not know how. Oh, he didn't get away. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong side of the map. I can't tell what's going on direction-wise. Now, Khan is turning, trying to get onto Diangoon, but he's getting bursted out by him and Yansur. And now Khan is on the run. He's got double buffs. Can he survive from this one? Mickey's coming to the rescue. Yansur might have bitten off way too much here. He goes down, and Mickey takes a kill, his first of the game. Meanwhile, in the top lane, number one said, "Where'd everybody go?" Well, Mundo goes where he pleases, and he continues to farm up for free.
The greed was so sketch right there. I have no idea what Young Glory was thinking about. It turned out such a perfect gank. Like, the Chinese teams are so good at team fighting. I cannot emphasize how good their mechanical ability is. It's like perfectly chaining CC. Like, that was a perfect bubble into the Flag and Dragon. Speaking of bubble.
Yeah, continuing to poke out. Now, this is a really dangerous place for... for Young Glory to be in right now. Shenlong is by himself in this bot lane as Yansur is trying to get back to it. It's like what's that little fun gif about the AD carry wanting to go off like a little deer diving into a pool and you have to like keep picking him up and pulling him out?
I think I've
wants
seen
to go
that
very
gif.
aggressive. I think he's very, very eager to prove himself, and SMLZ is looking very juicy. But look at that, just like that, he's half health already, and that evens the playing field so much. Not to mention, Mickey's coming in.
Yushe also has sustain on his side, whereas Shenlong doesn't have any of that sustain coming in from Yansur's Leona. So SMLZ is in a bad position here. Lifesteal very strong right now in this
but
patch.
here's a teleport. They're looking for this early action, and Mundo is coming in. Teleporting not able to be stopped as he was way back in lane, and they pick up a quick kill onto Yuji. Nice combo.
Look at the focus. Both teleports burn before 7 minutes in this bot lane here.
Yeah, meanwhile in the mid, looking to revenge kill. Mickey is going to chase down Diangoon with GA's help. GA will actually get the kill on that one and mop it up. But so far, game is really even. Every time there's been a kill, it's been answered almost immediately. And this doesn't give either team any snowball potential to try and chase down Dragon or anything like that. Meanwhile, lane being covered while number one is away. It looks like Yinfu will play Khan, trying to push down the tower regardless. Jarvan doing his best to clear him off. Nobody's 6 just yet.
The bigger issue, however, you are right. It's been very good kind of reaction, response from either side of the team to keep it effectively tied up. It is 9.6k to 9.6k across the board, 3-3. Jax. The fact that Khan is on a comfort champion, the fact that that comfort champion is incredibly powerful. This isn't 4.11, it's actually 4.9, so Jax hasn't gotten nerfed at all yet. He will be Jax no matter what. He already has a kill to his name, as well as the double buffs, which you can imagine that number one is pretty unhappy with.
It's a ticking time bomb. It's a very, very scary proposition for YG to deal with. Now, if there's anybody that's capable of sustaining up that damage, it's probably going to be number one's Mundo. But still, the longer the game gets, the scarier Khan becomes. He's got a little bit of lifesteal right now, can continue duking it out with his lane opponent. And wow, SMLZ trying to dip and dive and dodge, and he does manage to get out of a lot of damage from the Phosphorus Bomb. And so far, the lanes are pretty dead even. The gold is bang even. It's 8 minutes into this game, and no team has really been able to secure a full advantage. But yeah, I'm really worried for Young Glory as this game goes on. If they get pushed back further and further, unless they can get the same assassination potential onto Shenlong, they might not really be able to take this one out. But wow, in the mid lane, before we can even transition over, Diangoon gets taken out, and all of a sudden Yinfu on his own trying to duel out Mickey and GA. He will not get away from this one. It is a kill over to Mickey and a kill over to GA. They split it. They're now 2-0 and 2-1 respectively. Nice power move by World Elite Academy.
I don't know what Yinfu was thinking right there other than tag teaming and just feeding another kill straight into the enemy team. A great read by Mickey, and ooh.
Yep, Yuji though, he goes down real quickly and they were pinging for Dragon, but now they're rethinking this one as GA and Mickey are both trying to rush down here to help Yenser with the chase, dashing forward. Relentless Pursuit is not quite as relentless, apparently, as they'll back away, but this forces it back, and this does open up the Dragon as an option. It looks like World Elite Academy doesn't want to risk it, however.
Mickey, completely different jungler, has 100% kill participation right now. 2-0-3 with 5 kills on the board. Again, last game, 17 minutes in, on Lee Sin was 0-0-0, just completely farming his jungle. Now takes the Rengar, it's like night and day.
Yeah, he's been making plays left and right. He's in the mid lane, he's in the bot lane, he's been roaming the jungle on both sides. Yeah, this is a completely different player. Maybe he just needed a little bit of time to find his footing. And, well, Khan's going to find some fancy footwork as he puts a little bit of hurt onto number 1 in the top lane. So far, dueling it out quite well with him.
It's funny, too, because he actually has the flare on this jungler.
Yes, he does.
Gets the flare, chooses not to farm it, farms champions instead. It's China. They don't even play League of Legends
You know
They're
what?
actually
This
playing
is
deathmatch.
they do have you do get stacks for kills and assists. You don't have to go AFK in the jungle. I feel like that's a misconception, but I'm not a jungle main, so what do I know? Yenser trying to get some ward presence up as they're pinging it out. The ward denial is once again real. There are quite a lot of
There's actually
ward denials this
a
game
really
too.
interesting ward. I want to talk about it. This was really popular kind of before oracles got nerfed into the wall. You would ward, I don't know if you can see where Yenser, ooh, but the mid lane.
Yeah, that we can't even break to talk about Diangoon. He's just melting at this point. So GA picks himself up another kill, 3-1 to the 1-3, and now he's being dueled out by Yinfu, but he's actually standing up through it. He's got a blue buff to be able to do this. He pops his wild growth, and he was looking for the kill finish, and he gets it. Burns the flash of Yinfu, still gets him on the glitter lance and the help picks. Oh my goodness, and in this bot lane, Mickey now getting caught up. He burns his flash, he goes down anyways. Yenser looking for the chase onto Yujie, along with Zhenlong. SMLZ's there too, trying to turn it around. The teleport's coming in, and Khan's going to be in the action. SMLZ turning it around, but he's going to fall, and now they're turning onto Zhenlong. It is so far in all of that craziness, a 3-for-2 trade in favor of Young Glory, but still, they've got to be happy with the pressure they've turned onto this bot lane.
2 things that happened there. First thing, that was an awful flag and drag. I don't know what Yinfu was aiming for, but he completely missed his escape, forced him to burn the flash, and then cost him his life. Secondary, can we talk about how the fact that there's been 20 teleports burned in this bottom lane? Effectively, every single time teleport is off of cooldown, it's being burned down here. Look at the ward coverage in this bot lane. You have pink wards in the brush because you're trying to guard against Rengar. Mickey has been down there relentlessly. Both teams are saying, you know, Shenlong had a fantastic game last time. We're going to feed him all of the kills. SMLZ is our carry. So it is effectively coming down to 80 carry versus 80 carry.
And that situation in the bot lane was salvaged really, really well by the timely flash of Shenlong as well. So you see that was a 3v2 situation. It was going to turn into another 3v2 when Khan comes in. And then SMLZ goes down. Yujie goes down just barely as Shenlong gets taken out. And, I mean, that was just a lot of stuff spent by World Elite Academy. And YG salvaging out that situation and getting more kills for it. However, first dragon of the game. Looks like it could be contested in just a minute. They're still looking for GA. This is such a team deathmatch right now. Yenser trying to show face and scare him off, but this is not a very intimidating Syndra that Diangoon is on right now.
Unfortunately, Diangoon has had the same problems that he did last game, so we'll see if he's able to pick it up as it comes closer to the 13-minute mark, 12-14 right now on the clock, and they are going to start the dragon.
This is a late dragon, as far as China's concerned. Now GA trying to turn around, and they actually managed to get a double bubble off, and it looks like it's going to be Yinfu going down. Zhenlong zoned out of the fight, and they couldn't finish the dragon. Now Yenser, he will spend his ultimate, but he will surely fall on that one, giving the kill over to SMLZ. 3-1-1 on this losing this game. Definitely doing quite good now in the top lane. Wow, I don't know why Khan backed off of that. He might have been able to pick off a kill.
And in one fell swoop, however, they pick up the dragon and the top tier tower. So World Elite Academy now sitting on a decent gold lead of about 4K.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it's funny how these things turn on a dime. Last time it was very much a back and forth until the snowball happened in favor of Young Glory. This time it's World Elite Academy who grabs the first concise lead here at 13 minutes into the game. First objective starting to be taken, and they're looking to establish some map pressure.
Unfortunately, we're not. If World Elite Academy continues how they're doing right now, we won't know who the worst team in LPL is because they'll be tied up.
No, we won't at all. So Khan looking to back here. It's funny how the turnarounds can happen. I love this 2-game format just because you get a chance to adapt to the teams within the same night you're playing them, and it really shows how strategies can really change and turn on a dime. But of course, this is China. This is the land of team death matches, and they really, really, really like chasing those kills around.
Definitely, and just to kind of really touch, I really wish NA would kind of transition over to this format. The OGN uses it, LPL uses it. You are exactly right. It just really increases the adaptability of teams to kind of think on their feet, to have more than one composition prepared, to think about the game a little bit more strategically.
I do still like their comfort picks, though. You saw Yinfu rocking Jarvan twice, but you know, it's pretty crazy the difference in effectiveness. I think they've sort of found a few weaknesses there.
Definitely. But the game has gone a little bit stagnant now. We have a couple towers down. And by a couple, I mean one tower in favor of World Elite Academy.
That's all that. That's that 3.1k gold lead.
Well, it's
on that side.
Dragon's down. The first tower is down. Mid is still pretty much locked up. Bot lane's locked up. However, in this
here's
top
some action in bot lane. Mickey gets the jump on, but he forces the Valkyrie away. Yancer trying to turn it around, and Mickey is taken low, but he gets the wild growth pop. It's almost like deja vu here, but now it's Jarvan jumping into the fight. He wants to take down Mickey, but he's being bursted so fast, and he'll fall to GA at the end of the day. Actually, it's going to be SMLZ picking the kill up, and now Mundo in the action, being pretty scary, and Yancer goes in completely heedless of his own low health bar, and they manage to take 3 kills for 1.
Great read by Young Glory right there. Yinfu isn't having the best game of his life. His score doesn't reflect very happily. That's like, what, 1-5-3. However, fantastic read to understand, hey, Mickey has consistently been in this bottom lane when his ultimate is up. I bet if I just time it right, he's going to go there. I can meet him halfway. We can have a counter collapse. So great job by Young Glory right there to come out ahead.
Yeah, that was a really nice thing to do, just saying, hey, you know what, I haven't been doing so hot this game. I know I'm probably going to die in any engagement since I'm so behind in items, but I might as well just go in there, pop my Cataclysm, and sack myself, let the rest of my team do the work. And they didn't even lose a tower for it. Khan in the top lane tried to burst it down, but then number 1 got back really quickly.
Exactly right. However, Khan is starting to get really scary on this Jax. Almost has his board complete, sitting 2-0-1 right now with a hefty CS lead on
and he
number
managed
1.
to get it too.
Yeah.
This is probably the point where he can duel the Mundo, and
number
I hate
1
to say
can't
it.
stand toe-to-toe at him at
Yeah,
all.
no, this is not gonna. I mean, with his ultimate, maybe, but he can't just keep pushing out the damage. He needs a big wave going in his favor, so he's trying to crack open the map on his side as well, taking tower shots. Well, not quite now, as he, sees Khan and backs away. Chases on though. Now he's going to just free farm it up.
He has to be really careful. The Bork is now up and live, which means that Mundo health bar effectively means nothing.
And he's got the tenacity boots as well, so definitely working to counter anything that number 1 will throw at him. And this ever-present threat of the Jax teleport. I mean, yes, both top laners have the teleport summoner, of course, but this is a much scarier thing. If you see the teleport on the side of Young Glory, you got to be running the other direction, because Jax will instantly leap Counter-Strike onto anybody within his range if he has the ability to do that. And really, we've seen World Academy being able to kite away from this.
It comes down to the bot lane, and again, we see Mickey coming into the back. Effectively, Young Glory and World Elite Academy, their bot lanes have to have about 16 wards on the bottom side of the map. They have to make sure that both brushes are always warded at all times due to the teleports. Ooh, but Khan getting really aggressive on number 1 in the top.
Wow, number 1 wants that farm. He's going to pop his ultimate just to make sure he can secure a bit. But yeah, this bot lane has been pressured so heavily, and considering how even they are too. The AD carries 4-2, and I think it was, well, we'll wait till it comes back up. But yeah, 4-2 and like 1 versus like 4 or like 5-1 and something. They're doing really, really well on both sides. But SMLZ has been impressing a little bit more in this one. Definitely had a lot of help from Mickey this time, and well, he was going to reveal himself, but they already saw him. There was a ward in that brush.
They do know that they had the numbers advantage, so we'll see if it's now a 4v3 technically. Although it looks like everyone's just going to back off. That tower that they're sitting on, Young Glory, has literally 5 HP.
Yeah, and that's going to be an easy pick for Khan, as it'll go down right about now. Dragon's up in about 1:20, another objective to be contested, but number 1 has to do something about this Jax in the top lane. Cannot do it on his own, and we've seen this time and time again. The team with Jax makes it to late game, and they take it out. And it looks like another tower traded. World Elite Academy picking that one up as well, so they've started to establish a pretty good amount of map pressure, and they're looking for Dragon, but they're a little bit early.
Shea being the stiff breeze to take down that tower finally. Effectively what this comes down, ooh, Mickey.
Yeah, but what comes down to is that number 1 is caught way out, although it looks like Yancer is doing his best to try and save the life. And now Khan is getting taken pretty low pretty quickly. He's going to leap strike over to Mickey, but there's a Cataclysm, and he doesn't have a flash available. Down he goes, and a nice pickup actually goes over to number 1 this time, who is the only person in this game so far to remain deathless.
I would hope so, since he has about 7,000 HP underneath him. And
you cannot kill a Mundo.
The region to boot right there. A good pickup. I like the CC lock. Definitely going to give it to Yancer. His performance on Leona has been really spot on, and I feel like a lot of LPL supports really thrive on that champion. Again, it goes back to their playstyle is so very aggressive at starting those fights, but definitely the shining light for his team. I know that Shin Long got the MVP last game, but Yancer was a big part of that.
Yeah, supports so often go the unsung heroes in a lot of situations, especially in regions that are very hefty on the AD carry role. But that was, number one, has to be saying thank you, thank you, thank you over and over again right now to that support player, because Yancer just completely saved his life there and allowed the time for Yinfu to catch up and help him secure the kill. So Dragon could be contested pretty quickly, but there's already been an ult spent by Yujie that, you know, the wave was ridden by absolutely no one.
He hit some bushes there. He was just watering the lawn. You know, it's summer. It gets brown.
Ah, okay. So can we see like a gardener skin for Nami?
Effectively, though, that's a really important ultimate, especially to burn going into a dragon engagement.
Yeah, this is a little bit odd that they would spend it like that. And once again, just really demonstrating that I feel like China in general just does not have a clear grasp on how to use Nami as a champion.
That was also just a blatant, again, we talk about the miscommunication there, the fact that there was no one even near Nami to pull that up, but it does look like Youngler is going to pull out this dragon, and it's going to go uncontested.
Yeah, completely brazenly walking in there and taking it, and taking advantage of the fact that World Elite Academy was on the wrong side of the bush, had really no recourse but to try and steal, and really they barely made an attempt of it. SMLC just poked it with a W.
With that, they will even up this gold lead, so only a 700 gold lead in favor of World Elite Academy right now. And effectively, that's in a tower. It's 3-2 right now, 12-11 in favor of World Elite Academy.
Pretty close to even, though, as we can just call them Academy if you want.
The Academy.
Young Glory has done a lot of work to even this one up after the early lead swung in favor of World Elite Academy. This is a really, really good game for the back and forth, but I can't help but thinking that Academy really blew a lead here.
They did. It really kind of started in that transition from top lane where Khan finally came down, unfortunately, and he's now switched it up, being chased down by Yinfu here on his Jarvan. He's just waiting for him to clear the tower so he can turn around. He doesn't want to fight the tower.
He's definitely able to duel the Mundo. He's definitely able to duel the Mundo right now.
Oh, he can duel anyone. He was just respecting the tower aggro right there. Effectively what happened, though, is Khan took down all of the available towers, so it's now only down to the inhib tower in the top lane. He is now going to rotate to the bottom lane. He's going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's, when you're behind, split push, but when you're like not really sure what else to do, split push. Why not, right? It's the thing. So especially on a champion that is able to push this damage out so quickly, you can just see Mundo's health bar melting like a bar of chocolate in the sun, and it's not easy to do against a Mundo. So towers are pretty low, especially this mid one on the Young Glory side, but Jack's continuing to apply pressure in that bot lane, meaning that the rest of Young Glory are going to be spreading out here, and GA just trying to do his best to dodge out there. Going to be splitting the uprights, or GA, excuse me, is putting the damage that Young Glory is trying to dodge out. And I don't think they'll be able to stop this wave, though. Colling's going to come out, and it looks like they want to engage this one. Yujie going in and gets a bubble, actually, onto Yinfu, forcing a flash away from Yancer, and all that they're very low. A flash forward. GA is going to get a kill. Nice help picks on that one, and Mickey jumps in, but it's a bit of a misfire as he gets locked up. Will be able to kite away, though. Nice flash used, and they take a kill and a tower, and now they're looking for more. Shenlong's at half health.
World Elite Academy finally found the coordination right there to utilize their cooldowns correctly to take down that tower. Fantastic use of the Coling into the tidal wave. Finally seeing a good Nami ult go down that allows them to pick up that objective. That could have been really scary for them. If that Leona ult had gone down offensively as well as the Cataclysm, they did not have Khan there. He is over in that 4-1 side lane split pushing, which is a huge spike of power at this point in the game. Jack's very fed.
Academy getting the ball rolling on that one, and yeah, now that they've got, well, 2-1 Jax, he's definitely got a pretty good amount of farm, though, and you could see how confident they're feeling in taking that tower out, and how confident Khan was to push against Mundo. He's just said, you know what, screw the tower, I'm just going to take it down, and if you want to hit me, that's fine, I'll just keep hitting it, and then it won't aggro me.
The really curious thing is the fact that, and I feel like it makes sense just because Khan is a Korean player. Ooh, that Zenith Blade. SMLC,
yeah, that was quite
close,
close.
He smelled that as it went past.
Just a little bit. I think it might have singed the back of the hairs on his neck, but he did dash out of it, so nicely played. SMLZ really showing a lot more confidence this game, and I think he's a lot more comfortable on a champion like Lucian.
Oh, definitely. But kind of back to what I was saying, Khan, Korean player, now kind of the Korean, I'm going to call him the sub for World Elite Academy, brand new player right now coming in the top lane. China isn't known for their ability to play map pressure. Their meta for a very long time has been, you know, we group as quickly as possible, we don't necessarily ward, and the reason being is because we don't play the pick meta as well. It's kind of very new. We more of just kind of like roam around as 5 and smash our faces into each other. So the fact that we're seeing like a really successful split push from like the new Korean sub, I think is really interesting.
It's good for the scene, especially. This is introducing a lot of new strategy.
And I feel like Salome, a World Leads top laner, has kind of tried to utilize this new strategy. Ooh, Yancer.
And we'll have to talk about it in a little bit because there is a teleport coming in from Khan, and now they're getting locked up in that mid lane. Once again, story of the life of Diangoon. He has been dead a lot this game, almost more often than not, but they're trying to turn it on around. Xie getting taken pretty low, but he manages to survive out that one. Sustain Lulu, not really going to be at the end of the day because Yancer picks him off with the Ignite, and it looks like they will settle for a 1-for-1 as the rest of World League Academy very low. They want to turn for Baron right now, but looks like they'll disengage. And yeah, Young Glory has defended this reasonably well, but they lost 2-for-1. And SMLZ and the rest of World League Academy trying to make something more of this, but they could just continue the side pressure if they really want to.
The map pressure game is working out for them. I thought for sure World League Academy was going to turn down to Baron, but I thought for some reason Yinfu went down since, again, he's been spending a lot of his time dead. Is still alive, though, so they're just obviously not going for the 50-50 Baron. Even though they have superior vision control. Look at that. Pink wards all up and down that river.
Yeah, actually quite a lot of good vision in the river. Any parts of the map that have water in it, they've done a pretty good job so far. And even though the lanes aren't really a thing anymore, they're applying quite a lot of side pressure, making sure they can do this. And, well, we'll see this in an instant replay, a slow replay at least. So Khan gets a pretty big burst down with the help of Jie and Yuje. And then he tries to flash out of this one, jumps on over to take down the Mundo, manages to get it, heals up a little bit with the lifesteal, and then he goes back in. Probably a bit of a mistake as they're going for this chase maybe a little bit greedily. And actually, I didn't see where he got bursted down, but never mind. I'm losing it at this point. This has been pretty back and forth, but that was a really nice offensive maneuver by World League Academy, and they've established, even more importantly, control over that Baron area. I think at this point, Young Glory is going to be a little afraid to engage on it. Instead, they're going to try and burst down this mid lane. They're letting the front line go in here. And SMLZ trying to get the disengage. The bubble is going to pop. They're still wailing away at the tower. And I think World League Academy is afraid to try and take this one as the health bars are just too high. So there's number one, showing why that's his name. He says, I'm number one at tanking everything to the face.
The biggest issue, though, is that Khan is in the bot lane without his teleport available.
Mickey is getting dove on, though. There's a wild growth popping out. They could have got him. The Cataclysm's going to come in. He's still trapped in it. The bubble is coming out. Mickey is still surviving, but he'll get taken out by Yancer. Support carry this game. And there is Zhenlong on the backside trying to kite away. Khan stays alive, and he manages to get a couple more kills for himself. Number one sacrifices himself, and it's only Zhenlong alive right now. Can he kite away? Jie is chasing him down. The dragon is going to fall, and it's a clean ace. Well, it's an ace for Mickey, actually, and this is going to be a Baron for World League Academy, 26.5 minutes.
Effectively what happened there is the superficial tankiness of Lulu's wild growth stalled out that 4v5 long enough that Khan was literally able to walk his way up from the bottom lane to participate in the back half of that fight. And
yeah,
with that,
was...
it means a free Baron.
Yeah, and this is actually one of the safest Barons that I've seen in a while in the LPL. They waited completely until this fight occurred. And here we go. Solar Flare lands. Yancer is trying to keep Mickey away from the rest of his team, just body blocking it out, and they turn around, get the Cataclysm in. Yancer is taken really low. Mickey's still fighting. The bubble comes up to make sure they can't quite burst him. They're committed, though. Here they go again. They lose Jarvan. They lose Yancer. There's the kite out from Zhenlong. You're realizing he's way too low to fight this, and then they realize, oh, wow, we can just turn on this because there's no way that Zhenlong can stay in this fight, and they take out the rest of Young Glory. Excellent move by World League Academy, and this game, so much better than their last. Baron buff now, they've got the map wide open.
And they're effectively in the driver's seat right now. They've also got a huge, hefty gold lead right now, 51 to 42. That's close to a 10k gold lead almost in their favor.
I'm not a mathematician, but that is at least 9,000 gold in the pockets of World League Academy, and they've been able to back and buy. They've been able to secure the item so that they want, getting a lot more pink wards actually to keep this vision game going. And Young Glory looks a little bit lost. They've been confident in their team fights up until now, but that was very decisive.
It's been very reactionary, and a lot of World League Academy's gold is actually in their structural objectives, 6-3 in favor of them, and that really speaks to Khan's presence on the map.
Yeah, you've got a split-pushing Jax that you demand dealing with. There's no single champion on the side of Young Glory that can deal with it, so if you do send two to deal with him, well, you've got a 4v3 situation budding, and not only that, they're not even able to take straight 5v5 fights at this point.
It's they're not even able to take 4v5 fights at this point.
Well, there's always the presence. The Jax can teleport in if he's needed, but applying all that map pressure is just a nightmare scenario for Young Glory, and this is why you cannot let a Jax make it through the pick bans, especially not on somebody like Khan, who is just so very confident. They did not respect that pocket pick.
Definitely, but we'll see if World Elite Academy is able to transition this Baron buff into an inhibitor.
Looks like they're bursting it down. That tower is going down like a knife through butter, and they're going to find the health bar of Yinfu as well, and Zhenlong. They are looking to chase this for the ace. Mickey going to force out the heal. Wild Growth popped up. They're going to take him down. The answer is going to fall as well. Completely healless of the tower aggro. Khan gets out, and this one is looking so perilous right now for Young Glory as they look to try to get the chase down. Syndra's going to manage to get nulled off, but not before falling to Xia. And oh my goodness, it is a 3 for none in this one. Fountain dives incoming. It looks like they're just toying with him now. I think World Elite Academy can end this.
Completely. That was not the fight that Young Glory needed to lose this close into their base. Those death timers aren't as unforgiving as they should be, but definitely not going to be able to get back in time to stall this one out. One Nexus tower down.
Yeah, Khan is just soloing against the only remaining members of Young Glory, and they're just giving up. They said, okay, we can't do this, guys. GG, we give up. And it looks like worst team in the LPL is going to be a tie again.
Definitively, we can't say it anymore, but it is going to be a win for World Elite Academy. So they split 1-1 with Young Glory. Effectively now the standings are sitting with them still tied for 7th place with, 1-1, I think is their score.
Yeah, so they've each got a point, so once again, GG's going all around. And I think that is a pretty big slap in the face to Young Glory that says, hey, if you do not respect our pick bans, we will stomp you. This time, definitely went over on the side of World Elite Academy, and, well, that's all she wrote.
All she wrote indeed. But we are going to take a quick commercial break, I believe, and then come back with the analyst test. So how this traditionally works is there's about an hour-long break in between the first set and the second set, and because this set went very quickly, I think it might be a little bit over an hour, but we have a little bit of something special planned for you.
Yeah, we do, guys. So please don't go anywhere. We will be right back after a brief commercial break. And once again, you're watching the LPL English coverage on LPLEN. It's also brought to you by Gosu Gamers and Games in Asia. I'm Pyrotechnics, she's Frostgrin. Guys, don't touch that browser.
我相信，靠近梦想的每一步都是无上荣耀，所以我知道，训练中的每一刻都弥足珍贵。